Hello. Today, I have some of my older models out. By older, I mean like the cars are from older eras. They're from, um, I think these are probably roughly from the mid 20th century. These two. This is a BMW from like a Glimmer or something series. This thing is seriously gorgeous. It's got a metal body, metal base, and you see a very nice looking shiny blue as well as red, kind of glitter effect you can say. Very gorgeous looking. No, this is a Mercedes Benz actually, sorry, not a BMW. And this one is a very new Cadillac. What is it? Custom Fleetwood Cadillac. It's a cool model. I don't have a lot of like older cars because Hot Wheels and most diecast companies don't make a lot of them. It's usually more recent, like contemporary supercars or classic muscle cars and classic Japanese cars. There's not a lot of room for like early 20th century cars, unfortunately, because I'm a history major and I love seeing older cars, even though, again, I've said many times I'm not a car person, so I don't really know much about the history of these cars, but I just think it's super neat. And I'm doing these cars because today I want to look at one of my most unique pieces of diecast cars that I have. And I actually was just talking on Reddit to the channel owner of the worst channel on YouTube. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry if that got it wrong, but he's by far not the worst YouTube channel out there. He's great. He does a lot of diecast from a bunch of companies, as far as like Russian cars and both Russian made cars, like model based on Russian cars, like the Ladas. He's looked at like some East German cars. Like he's a great resource for looking at more unique brands. And I was just talking to him, asking where I can get an old East German police car because that's something I'm really interested in. Again, history major. And I also brought it up that I think Summer is a company worth looking into. And this is something I got from a purely by chance from a shop, goodwill.com, bulk buy, and I was very lucky. I actually won that one because people, like on eBay, people go crazy for these listings. And this is one of the things that came with it. And originally this came in a blister and a card, but it doesn't really matter because the card itself was cut. Like you can see the blisters, which there's not much of info. I had no idea what it was, and I look at the back of the card and it said it only had the importing company, which wasn't really helpful. But I look at the underside, it said it's at number 303, Peugeot. Apparently that's how you pronounce it in French. Don't quote me on that. That's just the way I've heard people say. And it's a 1907 Peugeot. The model is from 1907. Obviously, this car wasn't made in 1907. I think this car is actually made in 1997 or somewhere during the 90s. And they're also really nice. They put the scale there, 162, made in Hong Kong. So I did more Googling and mostly looking at the importing company and what diecast manufacturers have worked with them, and figure out this is a Hong Kong-based company called Summer. And I've looked up there a little bit more. I don't think there's anything more that's super interesting. They do a lot more like classic cars, like properly vintage. So I'm curious about that. But yeah. But as far as this one go, this is 1907 Peugeot, which apparently they've been active for a long while. Apparently from the late 19th century, which wow. Just for comparison, probably the oldest car people know about is the Ford Model T, and the Ford Model T started in 1908, so this is 1 year before the Model T, which is really great. What can I say about this model itself? It's got a plastic bottom, plastic base. It's got a plastic top. This here, the silvery part you see here, this is the metal, and the gold chrome is plastic. Everything else is plastic, so it's not super heavy. It rolls. Just gonna focus a little. It rolls. It's not a Hot Wheels, and I'm definitely not gonna put it on a track because oof, I don't want damage. This thing is not expensive. You know, like I got it in a lot, so that was super cheap. But if you buy this individually, if you just search summer Peugeot, I think this thing costs like $3-4 without shipping on eBay, which is pretty fair price for something that's unique, in my opinion. You can see it has bare basic of an interior. You see the texture on the chairs, if you can call on the other seats, I guess. And these things, this is super detailed. I think that's a spare tire or something. I don't know much about these things, but you do see a really solid detail in my opinion. Something happened over here, but that might just be more with how long it's been sitting in warehouses and all that. Yeah, there's not too much to this car, but I think it's really interesting, and I do wish I have like a carded version because it's just so unique. I do wish Hot Wheels or Matchbox or whatever company could look in more into cars from these era. But I think these cars are also a lot more detailed. You see like the tiny things that you probably have to put in there as opposed to more recent cars, which are much more streamlined. But I think this thing is definitely a gorgeous piece of diecast, and I don't know if I'm gonna get more summer, but I think as it goes, it's a very cool piece of my collection. And I think the worst channel on YouTube is going to make a video about. Um, I think he's really interested about getting these, so maybe expect a video from him. Um, Depends on when I put this up because it's probably going to be ages anyway. Got a couple of things backlogged. So I hope this has been interesting. Again, this is summer Peugeot 1907. Thank you for watching.